All right, good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting here since we have quorum. I'd like to say, is Jim even here right now? I don't even see him. We'll introduce Jim when we watch the video. He's the director of the Nature Center. Does anyone have any announcements?
Oh, there he is.
There he is, Jim! Thanks so much for having us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming out.
So we're just going to go through a couple quick things and then we'll watch the video.
Yep.
Announcements. I have an announcement. When we have presentation days for WQMA, I am requesting that we limit the amount of time that we present each person to no more than 3 to 5 minutes. And if you go beyond 5 minutes, I will cut you off and we will move on. Because our last meeting went over 2 hours and it was just a little too much. So, and I know that is really ironic because I gave the presentation, so I talked for like a half an hour, but it's not lost on me, at least know that. So, all right, old business. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes, changes, corrections? If not, I'll take a motion to approve. Second?
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Jim.
So this is a video film that SUNY Oswego students and faculty made about the history of the land that the Nature Center is now. So I'll play it, and if you have any questions about it, let me know, and answer any questions after.
At the root of the word ecology is the Greek word oikos, which means home. An ecosystem, therefore, is a home system, a place where plants and animals and humans have evolved to live together. One such cherished home space is the Sterling Nature Center, a 1,400-acre preserve on the shore of Lake Ontario.
My name is Jim D'Angelo. I am the director and naturalist here at the Sterling Nature Center. We have about 10 miles of hiking trails, and the trail system, the outdoor part, is open every day of the year, sunrise to sunset.
The Nature Center is home to beavers, herons, fox, ferns, monarchs, birds, and beloved by the Sterling people who come here to connect with the natural world. But in the 1970s and 80s, this rich ecosystem seemed destined for a very different fate, from plans to make it a power plant to proposals for a toxic waste dump.
I think it's important that we make the history of this available to people, and this will help. This place is rich in history as well as diversity in nature.
This didn't happen just because one person had a good idea. A lot of people just put a lot of their heart and soul and sweat equity in this place.
It all began in the late 1960s and early 70s.
It was thought that we were going to run out of energy. And so at some point they began planning to build some nuclear power plants. And sometimes settled on Sterling as a great place to do it, sparsely populated, easy to talk those people out of their land, things like that.
Rochester Gas and Electric acquired the purchase options for 2,800 acres of property. This included not only the purchase of the Jensvold house, but more than 25 surrounding homes and farms too, with the plan to build a power plant. Many of these homes had deep family histories. The dismantling of these homes, many of which were burnt, would be felt throughout the community.
My first contact with Sterling Nature Center was
owned by Rochester Gas and Electric. It was in the early 70s. I was working with Palladium Times, covering the county lead.
Journalist Barbara Bartholomew got her first look at the place that would become Sterling Nature Center when Rochester Gas and Electric gave her a tour of the site for their proposed power plant.
I was overwhelmed. I was daunted to learn about the people who had given up farmlands. I was daunted to see fallow farmlands, but I was awed when he took me, I swear it was dogwood. I had never seen a rookery. It was amazing. It just blew me away. It was property purchased by that point, obviously, overlooking the lake. And I don't know, and I thought about our beautiful lake and all of the construction that would be destroying something.
Initially, the majority of the town was in favor of the power plant plan, with just a small but vocal group pushing back against it.
Here's a headline from the local newspaper. The nuclear plant meeting is tonight. People attended, and I will tell you that by 1975, the town board was fully for it, was unanimous vote approving of putting a nuclear power plant there. And you can ask why, but obviously it's jobs, business, and so on. By 73, we see our first activist group coming out against it. And that's one of those minority people, 140 voters, that came out against the plant. It was called St. Sterling Association. There are many groups over there.
From the Save Sterling Association to citizens concerned for Sterling, the concerned minority increased public awareness of what was happening to this community they called home and slowed the gears at the power company.
People were just beginning, the general public, were just beginning to wake up to the treasure of planet use. Think Rachel Carson, Silent Spring, 50s, 60s. By the early 70s, we finally had Earth Day.
By 1974, RG&E said that they had all the options on the land, and they had plans to build one nuclear plant and two coal plants. By 1976, RG&E is refusing to participate in any forum that the town of Sterling has invited them to, and it's because there's so much strife and protest against RG&E that they had enough of protesters from the town of Sterling. Then in 1979, the 3 Mile Island meltdown happened, which really changed people's minds. And just before that, the China Syndrome movie came out. So by 1980, the siting board rescinded the license for the nuclear power plant.
While the refusal of rights for the power plant meant a reprieve for the land, this was short-lived as a slate of new proposals arose.
By that time, RG&E had spent $160 million, and they wanted something right.
In the 1980s, the site would be considered for a toxic waste treatment plant, a low-level radioactive waste storage facility, and a waste management site.
Last one, I think, was 1987 or 88, and this was also proposed by our friends at the DEC, was a low-level nuclear waste dump, and that got everybody's attention.
That is when the people said, no, really no. It was exciting, it was exhilarating. A core group of people that dressed in grossly costuming of white and painted on. And in between, they would be getting signatures on petitions and meeting in the churches and passion of the people. That's what I remember, the passion of the people.
Everybody wanted a piece of this land. I think Dave Sutterby was our supervisor at the time and said, I wish people would not consider Sterling as their garbage can.
Waste Management rescinded their purchase offer following the protest, and the people came to see that the only way to ensure a better future for this land, and in turn for their community, was for the county to purchase it. Charlie Itzen recalls key local leaders who helped make this happen.
Truth of the matter is there wouldn't be a nature center without Ralph Spanberg. He convinced them to borrow $3 million to buy this property. The county borrowed $3 million, and the town coughed up $100,000 a year, and they bought the property from RGD. And that is just amazing. I think he was a great organizer of people, but he also realized their foibles because within the next 4 years, he got the state, but also was, I think, close to $938,000 from the Nature Conservancy to put in deed restrictions on the area around here, the 1,400 acres, which would ensure that it was forever wild.
As people came together to build the Nature Center, they also built a new sense of community. The volunteers worked to bring healing, life, and new possibilities to the human and natural ecosystems of Sterling. A combination of inspired organizers and local citizens made the Nature Center a reality. John Weeks and Chuck Pace are two of the people who helped guide the citizens in this work.
Chuck was an educator. I call him the gentle giant because he was a very big man, but he was very soft-spoken. He was always explaining. You could picture what he wanted you to do. He was a really good teacher. And then, of course, we had John Weeks with us for a couple of years. And he was much shorter, but in the same way, he was a very gentle person. And he was so knowledgeable about the wildlife and nature. And it's just incredibly, it was just a part of him. I mean, you could just feel it. I got involved in the very, very beginning, and we kind of organized a group of friends. We would come, it was during the wintertime, we did a lot of work in the house. After we got the work done in the house, and spring came, then Chuck Pace, Dave Hollier, Don Cox, and a couple other gentlemen, depending on what day it was. We'd come again with pickaxes and shovels and clippers and saws, and John Weeks had laid out the trails, so we had them, had them marked so that we could follow the trails, and we clear about a 4-foot wide path, and but we all had a good time and worked together, and that was an awesome time.
Jim D'Angelo was also a part of this early work. He recalls first being introduced to the center by John Weeks.
So that would have been way back probably in 97, summer of 97, somewhere there. John Weeks invited myself and my wife to come up, to go for a hike with him up here, and to see the Nature Center. He took us out to the Vernal Pool Trail, and at that time he was laying out the trail system, so he was still designing the Nature Center's trails at that point.
Jim would go on to become director of the center, connecting its early days with the present. On a daily basis, he sees how the center connects the public with this natural resource, bringing them joy and, in turn, instilling in a new generation a desire to protect the natural world.
You have to be aware that nature is there before you can appreciate it. You have to appreciate it before you start to love it and connect with it. And then you want to preserve it, keep it for the next generation. So it's kind of what we hope people will get is kind of what the little connection to it, and then that will grow, and then they'll want more and more and more, and eventually want to help protect nature, the nature center, and just keep coming back and see what they can see next.
The landscape had changed since so many homes in Sterling were dismantled in the 70s. So many people uprooted. But after 2 decades of conflict, it became a place where new roots could grow. Just as the work of naturalists and citizens supported the diverse ecosystems at Sterling Nature Center, these ecosystems became part of the community tapestry again. Not a power plant or waste dump, but a thriving home place. Now, the building of the new Interpretive Center shows the continued commitment to the Nature Center's mission to preserve this land and forge connections between the land and the people who come here to gather, learn, explore, and connect to nature.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add?
I mean, the property, like they said, has a long history, long ties to the farming community, and most of the land at one point was farming and cleared, and we have the regrowth of the forest. The county's foresight to preserve it and all the wetlands that are in it, and being as close to Lake Ontario and helping protect the watersheds and that part of it. Something a lot of counties don't do anymore, so it was good. Anybody have any questions?
How many feet of lake frontage is there here?
There's about 2 miles, 1.9 miles of lakeshore are part of the property. So it's a big chunk, and it will be undeveloped. So yeah, it's a neat spot and connects kind of to the state land. I think some private land in between, but next to state land, which goes all the way to Fairhaven Beach State Park. So there's a nice part of the lakeshore that's being preserved in this area.
I thought it was like a few hundred feet.
Yeah.
not several thousand, many thousand feet.
It's a lot. So yeah, it's hard to. I don't think anybody's really walked the whole thing at one point, but you can get down. Most people just walk the front part of it here and visit it during the summertime, but it does go all the way out to almost to Marsh Road. Will be the next road. Anything else? Okay.
Great. Well, thank you. We're going to try to connect online so everyone can see, and maybe we'll get a little bit better.
Yours or mine?
Yours, because I'm not on right now. So, all right. I'll go through. I'll continue while we're getting this done. New business. Any new business? I guess, should my announcement have gone under new business? Or no? We talked about this.
Are you a meeting guest?
What? No, I'm not on. I guess. I mean, I'm not on though.
Are you sure you're not on?
Yeah.
Because who's that?
That's me. But no, I'm not on. I like the background though. I feel like I'm on the shore of a lake and there's woods behind me. Alright. Okay, no new business? Okay. Priority working groups. Anything from communication and outreach? Michelle?
September newsletter, not that long ago. If anybody has items for either, we'll have another newsletter in December or something for the blog. You can send those to Michelle because she does the She does the hard work of getting it posted and formatted and all that.
Okay. All good?
Yep.
Can you still hear us online? Can someone like give a thumbs up or whatever?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anne. Oh, can we get the audio over there? We'll just keep plugging on here. Invasive species. Anyone have anything for invasive species working group?
I don't have anything.
Maybe we can change. It's hard to do this upside down.
That's not good.
All right, nutrient and sediment. Is Seth the chair of that committee?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have any, Seth didn't give you anything? Okay. All right, agents.
I did have an announcement on that one.
Oh, go ahead.
I was wondering if the working groups would want to get together to look at what their work plan says and what they've done this year to kind of have a push towards the end.
I think that's a good idea. It's been a few months since we all met. For nutrient and sediment, should we just meet after next meeting? Does that work for everyone? 11:30, November 7th? No objections, so I take that as a yes. All right, I'll send that out, or I'll ask Seth to send it out.
Okay.
To have a meeting, or we'll find another time that works for everyone.
Okay, back to you, since you're going next time.
Okay, that's good. Agency reports, I'm going to keep mine really brief. Not too much to report that hasn't already been reported over the last couple months. We're hopefully in the home stretch of algae season on the lakes, and I do believe that the septic system replacement grant round 4 or 5, whatever this new round is, that has the much larger expanded water bodies list, is now open for all the new expanded people. So we'll be making any contact that we haven't made yet to the larger group. So, any questions? Great. Doug, Parks Department.
Obviously, thank you for joining us up here. Michelle and I will be available after the meeting if anybody wants to tour the site, the building. We can give you more information. We'd be happy to do so. We had, how long ago it was, but we had, Michelle brought the float tour through the park a few weeks ago. It's a great opportunity to showcase a lot of the water quality improvements that we've done throughout the park, from permeable parking to the seawall that Doug's team had replaced a couple years ago down in the water. So it was great to be able to show a lot of the progress that has been made both throughout the park system and other locations. So I appreciate Michelle bringing that group through to kind of showcase some of those efforts. Other than that, we're just happy to have this building open and running after a couple years of construction during the pandemic, which is not what I would recommend for building a new building, but it was fun anyways. But I'll be available after if you want to ask questions or see anything else, just let me know. Thanks.
Thanks, Doug. All right, Carrie, planning department.
Okay, so just some highlights, and then Michelle can fill in any holes because it's really all her work. So Michelle's still working, as you guys know, implementing the 9-element plan for Owasco Lake, and happy to announce that we do now have a new senior GIS analyst on board who's working with Nick Colas for that transition of the SWOT model. So Brad is learning all of that, and we now can accept mapping requests. So if you've got them,
yes,
send them our way. We don't have access to a plotter, but we can do anything digital you want. So that is moving along, which is good. As Doug mentioned, Michelle continues with her work on FLOPA. They had that great tour with DEC Director Dareth Glantz and Assemblyman Lamondes. And Michelle and Evan this year also had a great time, I hear, at Conservation Field Days at the park for 2 days in a row. So that was good that program's still going. Michelle, of course, is always working down at the flats and our riparian buffers down there, working with Doug and his team at Soil and Water to continue to maintain that site and get all the reports and things that DEC still needs. And the last bit of news that I have for everyone that we're really excited about is we submitted grants to NYSERDA September 11th and were awarded both of them September 12th. Woo. Have $10,000 that just hit our bank last week to do some really great things both at Emerson Park for some solar and 4 EV car charging stations out there, as well as solar at on the new roof of the new motor pool for County Highway. So we got a total of $135,000 from NYSERDA for those initiatives, and with all the other incentives that they're offering, it shouldn't actually cost us any money out of pocket in the end. So we'll working through the contract phase and final approval from the legislature this month, and then we'll be working with Doug and Brian at the highway first part of the year to start those initiatives and get them going.
Awesome.
Did I leave anything out?
Good.
Okay.
Is that
Yes, it's Clean Energy Communities grants. So we are now a, is it bronze level 3? We're gonna see if in my notes that Emily mentioned what we are. I'll have to double check what level we are. As far as our certification level, but with all the initiatives that we've done in the past between the electric vehicles and the car chargers stations at the county office building, community solar, and some of the trainings and stuff we've done, we earned enough credits to qualify for $135,000.
That's great. Thanks, Carrie. And I also missed the unfamiliar face. This is Michelle Mustico-Murphy from my office. She's one of our sanitarians that specializes in our public water supply program. So we had a few things to talk about and we haven't been able to connect, so I brought her with me so we could talk them through in the car on the way up and have dedicated time for that. So, all right. And there's cookies. Eat the cookies. Soil and Water, Doug.
All right, good morning, everybody. Quickly, the district, we're taking advantage of the good weather here, so continuing to implement projects, oversee the implementation on some of the farms that we work with, so it's been a great fall for that construction work still. We did have conservation field days at the park, thanks Doug, and thank you for all the volunteers that were up there teaching sixth graders, over 700 kids. We've been doing it for I don't know how long now, but it's been it's my whole career there so far. So that's September 18th, perfect weather. So thank you for the time that everybody spent doing that. We also had conservation skills training for conservation district employees that's held locally in the Cayuga County areas, where we were able to get out to different farms, including the Sunnyside Farm, up there. And that's more or less training for conservation district employees to be able to do what we do. Also found out that we received 2 grants through the Climate Resilient Farming Program, 2 ones to implement cover crops. That one was $2,119,582 state dollars. And so there's a match that goes along with that from the landowners. And then we received another one for a manure and ag waste treatment system. That one was $5,107,450 for the state funds, with the associated match as well. So good news coming in. We're in the process of writing additional grants for some other programs. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that more coming from it. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, Doug. Solid Waste Management Office update?
Yeah, just have a few updates. So the local solid waste management plan got resubmitted to the DEC. So they are reviewing it for a final time, hopefully. So looking to maybe adopt it by the end of the year or maybe the first month next year. Our hazardous waste event is this Saturday at the Soil and Water facility. Registration filled up at 300 people about a week and a half ago, so it's good. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of hazardous waste, so it'll be good. And then the last thing is our electronics recycling event is scheduled for November 2nd. So registration for that opened up yesterday. And then we're doing it a little bit differently this year. So we're going to have two, so there's going to be 3 locations for the event. So there's going to be a drop off in the northern part of the county and the southern part of the county at the 2 highway garages there. So, yeah. That's it.
Thanks, Evan. Cornell Cooperative Extension, Dan?
Yep, good morning. Like others have said, we're happy to participate in conservation field day. Doug's group putting that together is a good opportunity to educate some of our younger citizens on conservation. Frank's been working with some researchers, faculty members at Cornell on a project to educate people about the value of manure instead of always seeing it as a waste excess product that needs to get gotten rid of, that it does have nutrients that our farmers need to apply to help grow their crops. So Frank's going to continue that work, and that's about it for this month.
Thanks, Dan. City of Auburn, Tim is here for Seth.
So Seth had a very early morning flight. He's on his way to New Orleans for the Bucket Convention. He'll be back on Thursday next week. The water filtration plant, we had our dedication back in August for the slow sand filters. That project had some money left over, so that's being used in the rapid sand building, getting new. And one of the filters is going to be upgraded, like some media in it. Biosolids project, the wastewater plant, is right on schedule, moving along very well. And the CSO project, upgrades on our CSOs and the sewer separation project. We are in the process of completing the comment section on EFC and getting ready to apply for permits for construction. And this morning is almost part of that. I was contacted by SUNY yesterday, and 5 of their senior students are going to do a project looking at converting 2 CSOs into stormwater treatment plants. That's about all I have.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't see Ed anywhere. So we'll move on to Lake Associations, Cayuga Lake report. Anyone for Cayuga Lake? I don't know, there's an unknown phone number on there.
That's Liz.
I don't even see.
Liz is the 1607.
Oh, okay.
Is Roxy online?
I don't see her.
She's not.
Okay. Okay, I'll just give a few quick updates.
Can you hold a second?
So
We're going to try to get the volume
We gotta
turned
get
up.
the volume turned up. Hold on.
okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get
good.
it on the computer.
How's this?
It's our end, not your end.
Okay.
How about try now?
Okay, does this sound better?
Yes.
Okay, just a few things on behalf of Cayuga Lake. So as folks have probably seen, our TMDL for total phosphorus has been finalized by the DEC and EPA. So the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network and the intermunicipal organizations and other partners are going to be beginning to work together to look towards implementation and how we can communicate what the finalized TMDL means for our watershed. We also had a really big month for harmful algal blooms. Over the last 30 days or so, I think there were nearly 60 reported to the Community Science Institute that are visible now in their database. I know it was a big month also for a lot of our other Finger Lakes for HABs. I think there were several more reported directly to the DEC's NIHAB site. So there's that, and otherwise we are beginning to plan, the network is beginning to plan our end of season hydrilla community forums. The management partners and other experts will come together to report out on the status of hydrilla treatment and management in Cayuga Lake. So stay tuned for information about when that event will be happening. And we're also getting ready to plan our community conference for the autumn, and that will likely be focused on the TMDL itself and next steps. So that's it from me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Liz. All right. I don't see any presence of Carl for Cross Lake Seneca River.
He said he couldn't make it.
Okay. Duck Lake report. No. Lake Como.
Still waiting on final approval on our wetlands permit for our weed treatment for next year. I did get a correspondence from DEC. They've got the paperwork, looked pretty good. There's a few minor tweaks that they want to do, and they're sending them back to the Solitude to adjust it. I'm hoping that next month or so we'll have it all set so we can start working this spring. Other than that, everything's pretty quiet up at the lake.
Okay. Thanks so much, Pat. Little Sodas Bay.
I'm here.
Yes, I see that. Long drive, right?
Yeah. I don't have a lot to report. We're talking about lake level. We were concerned maybe earlier in the summer that we were going to be extra low. I reposted a state water level advisory in that up in the St. Lawrence River they were allowed to make adjustments, and I would say that right now we're at a normal level. We're now able to make adjustments to what's going on. We were low early on in the season, and we're right at normal right now. And we never had a second cutting, did we? So
I didn't hear any complaints about any leak or anything like that. We're good news.
No. So that's a good sign. So we had to educate our people about, the early cutting, and that we actually have two different kinds of weeds that are happening. So we're praying for a hard winter. If you can believe that, because that knocked it down.
I hear that's not going to happen. That's what I've read. It's supposed to be very mild again.
Yeah, no, we're 5 years in the running. We were talking about it earlier. We're not going to have any snow for the last 5 years. So it is what it is. It'll happen.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Oh, one other thing. I don't know if you wanted to swing by the winery because they're doing their harvesting right now. This year they're ending up with a bumper crop. So things are looking good for the wine industry. Hopefully it's the same down in the Finger Lakes area. It is up here. Chris Glover was quite happy with what he's getting. So they're all out there right now. He gets some local community members come in, and he works out a deal with them. I haven't gotten involved with him. I'm not interested in picking grapes, so I haven't gotten involved in it, but they work it out, and you see a couple hundred people out there helping. They're all local people, so it's kind of a community effort, which is kind of neat to see.
What winery is that?
Cayuga.
Oh, okay.
We had a meeting there.
Yep.
A year ago.
Yeah, just I think this September of last year was when we had it. Okay, great, awesome, thank you. Owasco Lake, Ann, is that going to be you or Dr. Joya?
Yeah, I could highlight it, and Bill, if I miss anything, you can fill in. But ALA continues to be as active as possible in our advocacy efforts with our current newsletter, articles in the paper. We've had volunteers going to town boards that surround Owasco Lake to talk about the concerns and benefits of our water. Tomato Fest, we were advertising our boat rides. Unfortunately, the weather did not cooperate, and those that were captaining the boats decided to cancel the effort. Later in September, we had Senator Rachel May at our board of directors meeting. It was open to the public. It was informative, and she was able to reiterate all that she is doing in Albany for us, so that was good. We have members that are doing a letter writing campaign at this time because our lake had been so green. It is getting better, I think, with the 43-degree temperatures that we've been having. It's the worst of the season, I think, is beyond us now. And lastly, just want to share, we have begun planning our Bob Brower Scientific Symposium in plain English. That will be on September, March 8th. So save that date and we'll have more information in the future. And that was it. And thank you.
Thanks, Ann. Dr. Joya, anything to add? Okay, sounds good. All right, Skaneateles Lake.
Yep, this is, yep, we had, like a lot of the other Finger Lakes, we had about 23 observed days of HAB activity since the end of July to the end of September. One stretch was 6 days, report every day, and another of 10 days in a row. Pretty disappointing, but the temperature at the north end of the lake, the peak temperature was 80.6 degrees. So with that calm weather, hot, and we're kind of like everybody else. Next Wednesday, Cornell Cooperative Extension's holding a HAB education event at the Lodge in Skaneateles Falls. You can check with Skaneateles Info for the link to that. Dr. Boyer is going to speak, Dave Matthews of Upstate Freshwater, and Tony Prestigiacomo. We have done pretty much with our matting for the year. We did do 9 runs around the lake on the research boat, looking for milfoil and getting ready to map to where we're going to mat next year. But we have seen a large increase in the amount of early leaf pondweed. So we're trying to work with ESF to see if there's a possibility to see the difference between milfoil and pondweed from the air. And a little, maybe more easier than having to go by boat. And the steward system is coming to a close, and that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Patty. All right, Aaron.
Okay. Yeah, my office is, we're involved in the Skaneateles Lake Watershed project, so we applied to the WQIP for a stream bank stabilization project with Onondaga County. And we're in the process of getting that rolling. So this is kind of the first, my office doesn't really deal with WQIP construction projects very often. So this is kind of us getting our feet wet in that area. We also applied to the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative grant program in September for money for hemlock woolly Belgian treatment and also some tree planting on CMI Land Trust right outside the village of Skaneateles. So it's the 9-element plan for Skaneateles is still not done. We're just in the process now of having the watershed advisory committee look at then we'll go to the state for what I really imagine will be an extended period back and forth. Yeah. So, I'm optimistic that by the end of the year we'll have it locked down, but we'll see. Year, but we'll see.
Thanks, Aaron. Great. I'm not seeing anyone with anything for DEC, Great Lakes, Finger Lakes Prism, Finger Lakes Water Hub, Owasco Lake Watershed Management Council.
Good morning, everyone. I apologize for not making it to the Nature Center in person. I do have an update for the Owasco Lake Watershed Management Council. The inspection division has been actively responding to field calls for inspections regarding suspicious watershed conditions. And regarding our Owasco Inlet Stream Stabilization Project, the engineering consultant is finalizing their 30% design for that project, and they plan to submit the initial design to the Management Council and the Cayuga County Soil and Water Conservation District as early as the end of this week. And they will be starting, they being the engineering consultant, a new permitting package through the DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers this month to complete as much as possible before their 60% design is finalized. And we are finally in a position where we are receiving project disbursements from our funder, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, in order to pay our contractors. So many thanks to the Cayuga County Soil and Water Conservation District for their patience in that regard. It took us a couple of months to turn around their invoice, so I appreciate their patience. The 9E Coordination Committee for Owasco Lake is moving forward with plan implementation through a couple of initiatives currently. One will be pursuing dedicated funding for a farmer-driven Owasco Lake watershed ag program that will piggyback on a comparable program for Skaneateles. And we will be scheduling meetings with officials in the near term to discuss this collaborative approach. Secondly, we're working with the City of Auburn, scoping out contracting with New York State for their recent award for stream corridor assessments within the Owasco Lake Huck 12 sub-watershed. That project will provide support for proposed land acquisitions in that subshed by the Finger Lakes Land Trust. We are also supporting finalizing the City of Auburn's drinking water source protection plan, which we understand is yet another pathway for project funding through New York State. We're including the watershed-specific and farmer-driven project concept within that plan in hopes that we can point to the concept for future grant proposals. Also, for a fun project with regards to our 160-acre Fillmore Nature Preserve, we will have our educational kiosk constructed there this fall. And earlier this month, actually tail end of September, the perennial garden around the perimeter of the public access lot at the preserve was overseeded to improve establishment and limit the competition of nuisance weeds. And we will also include the construction of a picnic table adjacent to the kiosk for visitors. We will be considering additional land acquisitions for stewardship in 2025. Also, as a reminder to the group, we now have fairly well established our shrub willow nursery in the town of Owasco. And Jesse Lloyd, our watershed inspector, and I did some maintenance there earlier this week. And we do hope that our partners will consider repurposing some of that material for soft practice installations for whatever projects are of interest to them. And then just lastly, I'd like to give thanks to the SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry. They're involved now in several projects. Tim referred to their senior capstone in support of evaluation of City of Auburn CSOs. They are also working with the Owasco contingent on data analyses for the tributary monitoring program for the watershed. That's been helpful. And they will also be providing via their field station in Tully thousands of willow cane in support of soft practice installation for that Owasco Inlet Stream Restoration Project. So really great to see ESF's collaboration on multiple fronts. Thanks so much. That's all for me.
Thanks very much, Adam. All right. We don't have anyone from Sea Grant, so last but not least, Greg.
Good morning, everybody. Beautiful village, just gorgeous. Farmers are, at least in our area, wrapping up corn silage harvest. Beautiful weather, record crops. We were 13% over yields above last year, put us into record territory. Some nutrients removed from the soil was just mind-boggling. Very little mud on the road, which is good for everybody. first cover cracks that we planted are probably 4 inches tall now. Tail end is just terminating, so should be a good year for cover cracks, reduced erosion, sediment leaving fields. What else? Personally, we've got a big announcement coming out next week, which we're looking forward to. Still waiting for a few respondents and invitations, but we'll see that next week.
Cliffhanger, nice.
Yeah, we'll leave you hanging. You won't be able to go to sleep tonight.
I won't. Got a few ideas about that.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Does anyone have anything else to add? Any questions, comments? Anyone gonna go take a walk after this? Yeah? I think I might go down to the water. I have 30 minutes now between. Thanks for the quick meeting, everyone. I really appreciate it. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Okay, over there. Sounds good. Anyone opposed? No? Okay, got it. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, online people.